showcase how I generate 3D models with various AI tools that I love to use. We're going to be starting out with an image that I gathered today, this pine cone over here, and I'm going to bring it into various tools and show you how I like to use AI for it. I'm going to use some text to 3D, some image to 3D, and some AI prompting in World to show you. So first of all, I want to show you how easy it is to take an image that you captured and turn into a 3D object. So again, this is a pine cone I took from a adventure I had. I love trail running. I went with my dog this morning. And so I'm like, oh, it would be cool to take this. So the first thing I would do, let's say you have an image, you want to turn it into a 3D object, let's say for a virtual world, like something like Hyperfy or Unreal or Unity or whatever you want to use it for. And the editing that goes behind to do that. So first step, what I would do is I like to go into places like Claude or ChatGPT, whatever ones you like, and I'm going to ask it, I want to remove the background and only have the pine cone. Please create a prompt for Nano Banana. And I like to do that just because a lot of times if I use whatever AI you want to use for this, it creates a better prompt than I would, and it gives better results. So create the prompt for me to use. There you go. So from there, we're going to head over to Higgsfield. Oh, I didn't upload the image. Let me upload the image right here. Sometimes I don't really even have to put the image, but that was my... Here it is. Remove the background to keep only a pine cone, isolate, and transparent. Okay, perfect. Let's see what happens. And a lot of times, doing this process for whatever image I have tends to give me, again, the best results. So here's Higgsfield. I like it because it gives you can use, there's so many different tools you can use within here. So right now we're going to go to create an image. Let me get rid of some of these other ones. I'm going to paste in that prompt. I'm going to grab my pine cone and then generate. Sometimes it takes a minute to upload. And generate right here. It'll take a little bit. Usually what I like to do while it's something like that is working, I will work on something else. Another one of the things I want to show you guys is how to use, in Hyperfy you can do in-world prompting. So now I want to say, create a simple prompt for a pine cone that I will use in Hyperfy. Okay, let's see what happens with that. Or actually, let's get more specific. I want a prompt to create a simple pine cone. I will use Hyperfy and prompt in world. And I've done some other videos in the past about this. If you guys want to check those out, I will link that in the description. Okay, let's see how that is. So let's check out Higgsfield. Oh, there it is. It did a, let's see. That looks pretty good. So I'm just going to grab that and let's see. Let's download. Oh, cancel that real quick. I'm just going to, okay, there we go. Here's my pine cone. So while that's doing, actually, let's just keep going and head over to Meshy real quick. Here is Meshy. The cool thing about Meshy, there's so many, they're always updating, adding a bunch of new tools, but you can get an account on here, and I think they give you 100 credits to use, so you can play around here for free, which is really cool. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is go over to the image to 3D. And I'm going to showcase both in Meshy, how you can do just text to 3D, and in Hyperfy as well, because I love playing around using different tools. So now I'm going to drag this guy in here. And usually it gives you a pretty accurate name, pinecone. And here you can decide standard, I'm going to do low poly. I'll do both just to show you guys. First, let's start with a standard and generate it. And a lot of times, it's again, all of these takes time to actually generate. I tend to have multiple things happening at the same time. So hopefully that's not a little confusing for you guys, but usually once you start working with AI tools, you tend to go back and forth between different things. So you can see that's generating. I'm also going to right away just generate a low poly. And with a lot of the game engines, especially if you're doing things like in virtual worlds, you definitely want to do low poly, or what I like to do, you can play around and even recreate it in Blender. You can create these models in here, bring them into Blender, and then have like a more of a nice little working idea of what you want to create. Okay, so while that's doing that, let's go back over here and let's test out what this prompt will look like in Meshy and in Hyperfy. So in Hyperfy, let's go to this world. We're here. I've already connected an API to this world, so I can actually prompt in world, and I will showcase that in a second. So let's go back to Meshy real quick, and let's check out the text to 3D. So let's say you didn't have an image, and you want to start from scratch. Let's paste in that prompt. So here's a pine cone sitting on the ground, natural brown tones, diesel. Let's see what it does. So again, I have multiple things going. And here now I have 3 things going. I think depends on the versions you have, you can only have certain amount of things rendering at the same time. So let's let that sit there. And now I'm going to head over to Hyperfy and do the same thing. So I'm going to also do another video on how to set up your own Hyperfy space. I use Hyperworld Host just because it's nice and easy, or you can do self-hosting in here. So I'm going to do /create, and then I'm going to paste that prompt in. And as you can see, it opens up this little, here goes, little dialog box. And that takes a while too. So while that's waiting, I'm going to go to one of my favorite sites to get some cool avatar, because I don't want to be the boring old avatar. I'm going to grab an avatar and just drag it into. I feel like being, I love the skull guy. Let's just download that puppy. Okay. And now I'm going to go, oh, as you can see in this world, I'm already the tiger, or here, if I want to change over, I'm just going to drag that and I'm going to equip. So now I'm that. So in this world, I'm going to do the same thing. Equipped. Okay. So right now we have a couple things going. Right now we have Meshy. Ooh, look at that. We have our first, this is from the image, that photo that we took. Let's check it out. So right now, as you can see, it has a lot of a huge try count. And let's see, I think this is the low poly one that's happening. We'll let that do its thing. But definitely for virtual worlds, this is going to be massive. But it's still fun to take a look at it. You can look, check out, look, it's very high count. It's still fun to see the topology. Let me turn that off. You can turn it on and off. I'm going to now add the texture. And okay. This one is a strange, look, this is the texture prompt. It kind of doesn't look as much as I would like a regular pine cone. Well, some of them are kind of like that, but most of them tend to have this shape. So that's kind of a little interesting. Let me make this window a little bit bigger right now. There we go. It's probably a little better for you guys. Sorry about that. But as you can see here, oh, nice. This is the low poly, and that came out pretty nice. So now I'm just going to texture that. That's not as bad. It's still not excellent. But for now, let's texture this guy. And this is from, yeah, this one came out kind of funky, but it's still fun to do and check out, see what kind of results you get. So playing around with multiple ones is a good idea. So this guy right here, it's acting a little slow. Let's see. Oh, there we go. And right here, it is, I believe it's doing the texturing. Yeah. So I'll let it sit. And let's go check out the world if it did the pine cone yet. Oh, there it is. Look, let's check out this little pine cone. He's little. It does look like a pine cone, kind of. Let's it's a very low poly abstract looking pine cone. Not bad. Maybe like a lot of times when playing, it creates like, very low poly, simple geometry objects, and you can do interactive things as you can see here. Those are all prompted in world as well. But that's actually pretty cool. But one thing I want to do is maybe let's try one more time and make it more specific. Let's go back here. Say, make sure the shape of the pine cone is included in the prompt. Okay, let's see if that does it a little bit better. It's just kind of fun just to play around. And ideally, as you can see, look, check this guy out. That looks pretty cool. There's my pine cone. I mean, some of the coloring isn't perfect, but still, look, let's check it out. Here is my original little pine cone that I took in the wild. And here's my little 3D object. I really like that. That turned out pretty cool. So that's about, it's not super low poly, but it's still, again, we're just playing around, showcasing some of the fun tools I like to use. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to download this and bring it into Hyperfy and to Blender. So this is a fun place. Let's say if you're doing some prototyping or building worlds, you can experiment and play. Or let's the high poly. Let's go into make sure you want to click on the right one that you want to download. So I'm going to download this guy right here. And all you have to do is select what format. I'm going to do GLB, but actually you can do blend too. So I'm going to do GLB and a blend file. Let's first do GLB. GLB is something I can just drag and drop into Hyperfy. And I'm going to do blend because I can just open up the Blender file, which is really nice and easy. And let's check out how that works. So again, whatever end point you want to use these models for, it's just a fun way to gather a bunch of things, test out the tools, see what works. Usually what I do in this channel is showcase fun lesson plans for arts teachers, digital arts teachers, STEAM teachers, STEM teachers, and how you can do world building and use it with standards aligned curriculum. But I also just love having fun and playing. My background is more digital arts, so didn't really hang out with the standards world, but it is fun to have. A lot of times I think when you have some kind of restriction, you tend to have a lot more creative output. So standards I think, makes it even more creative. Like I've had a lot of fun trying to figure out ways to make things standards aligned and also fun, educational as well. Okay, so I downloaded those files. I'm going to grab them now. Here's the pine cone. I'm just dragging it into Hyperfy. There it is. There's my little, there you go. I'm going to move my little pine cone there. Move it up. That looks pretty cool. So let's say you have a classroom, or let's say you have you have your kids and you want to do a fun project. You go outside, everyone collects a bunch of objects. You do the process that we just did. Ideally, you can do it as well without removing the background, but that part I think it tends to make it even nicer, especially if you're using your own images. And what you tend to do is what I probably would have done is even taken a better picture of this just with the blue in the background. I just did it really quickly. My dog wanted to keep running, so I was like, okay, let's just do a fun thing. Let's grab an item and we're going to make it into a 3D object, which is the pine cone right here. So now let's check out what the blend file looks like. I'm just going to double click and open Blender. It'll take a second. And here it is. Look at that puppy. Okay. Not sure why I did that. It's not liking it right now. Well, what I could do as well is let's just drag in the GLB into Blender. Let's turn the other one off. There you go. So now that object, let's say you wanted to build like you could do whatever you want with this pine cone. So yeah, hopefully that showcased something fun for you guys. So one more thing that I want to show before I want to make this stream a little bit shorter and more concise. So I think we had one final thing. What happened to Claude? There we go. Okay, let's try and see if this prompt, the oval elongated shape, let me try one other thing too. A lot of times when it comes to like the actual prompt, I tend to go back and forth a lot. So let's bring this guy in. Let's see. No, let's just try this one. Okay. I'm going to go back into Meshy and let's go back into text to 3D. And see if that helps it a little bit. I'm just going to go straight for the low poly since we know it came out pretty good in general. Ooh. Another thing that you could do as well, which would be really fun, you take a T-pose picture of yourself, bring it in here, and you could play with animation parts. I think I'm going to have to do that one for the next live stream. Okay, so here we go. Here's this little guy. You can see I have all these other ones. I should have grabbed more than one object, but I just wanted to do a little fun test, and hopefully you guys find this useful. So just to review, the main reason for this video was to just show you guys some of the ways I generate 3D models with AI. I like to use text to object, image to object. I use Higgs field just because it gives me a wide variety of tools and makes it fun. Okay, there's the, I'm still going in the background. And let's see. Actually, you can also go text to, you don't even have to give it an image here. You can use this as well, the same way that I'm using Hyperfy and Meshy. So it's fun to play with multiple tools, mainly because you're able to see which one you like the best, which one gives you different results. This one, again, is doing that. I'm going to let it be there. Let's go back into here. I'm just going to try to generate it from just from text as well there. And this one is already doing that. And I'm going to go in world and do the same thing and see what happens. Okay, so that'll be my second pine cone. But so far, this pine cone's pretty cool. And so once you get this little GLB within here, you can do all sorts of fun things for it. I could have, I think I'm going to even change my prompt here. Create, and then I'm going to add that also make it so it glows when you get close to the pine cone. So you can have multiple things at the same time within here as well. Okay, so this is just a sample world. This is the open source avatar. I'll link all of this stuff below as well once this little stream is done. Let's see how long I've been going for. I'm trying to keep this a little bit shorter. Already almost 20 minutes. I thought I was going to get it done in 5. It never goes that short. So yeah, the nice thing, again, why I like showcasing Meshy is you can have some free credits to play around and see if this is a tool for you. I know there's a ton of other really cool AI 3D model making websites. I've used Meshy for a long time now, and they tend to, they have a lot of really cool learning resources, learning videos, fun community. I love the being able to animate your characters, and done it for all sorts of things and projects, but it is fun for generating, especially, you know, if you're teaching a class and you want them to be able to do fun things really fast and start to understand the concepts as you would do when you're playing within Blender. So Once you're in Blender, then you can do all sorts of things. This is Blender when I'm doing like K through 5 stuff. Tends to be a little more complicated, but it's something that you could showcase. Like, hey, you can bring this into Blender and play around and use play around with other tools within here. So yeah, let me see what else I want to talk about before I end today's stream. So basically, this is a fun way to generate. You can generate whole worlds out of it. You can generate little sample builds. You can incorporate. I love incorporating IRL stuff. Like, let's say I would do a class with this. Ooh, what is that? Ooh, there's the new pine cone that did turn. See, this is the fun part. Look, like, what is going on here? Oh, it did glow, but it didn't really look like a pine cone, but it got the interactivity. That's pretty funny. So that's part of the fun too, like experimenting and knowing that experimenting is part of the process of creation and be like, hey, maybe we'll tweak the. It's actually really cool how I create it. It looks like an installation art. I love that. It's actually really cool. It looks like you could be making this with wood art. Oh, look how cool. When you get close, it glows. Let's see. Let's see. When I get close, it's actually acting a little slow. Normally the interactivity is pretty good. This one, it seems to be like it glows when you step away. But yeah, I always see so many different things you can do with mixing IRL and digital art. So I'd say an idea I would do with this one, have the kids collect flowers and plants. We take photos of them. That's another component of it. Interesting angles of the photos. It doesn't have to be like just like straight on like I did. We bring them into different tools, make them digital, and then have the kids run around. And then I think adding the interactive element makes it really fun. Okay, let's see if the other one, that one's still not rendered yet. As you can see, here's like a little funny little abstract pufferfish that when you get close, he glows. So this one, normally it works like really well, the interactivity. It's just working a little bit slow today, but it's still a lot of fun. Let's wait till this last one is generated and then we can end today's stream. And hopefully you guys will get inspired. And a lot of my other videos, I go into more detail of certain things, but I just think it's fun to live stream and show you guys some of the fun things and ideas that I have. But I really like this one. It looks really cool. Like I would love a lamp like this. I don't know. I have strange. Ooh, look at that. Oh, it could be like a whole. This thing could be like a giant castle almost. Okay, I'm gonna make him giant. Wow, look at that. That looks pretty fun. You can like run around it. So I love playing with scale and different things. Let's look at it from above. You guys can get an idea of what it's like. So that's how my brain works. I always think of a bunch of different things you can do. So I'm not sure why this one is taking so long. Sometimes it gets stuck, but I'll give it a little bit more. What you don't want to do, sometimes I've had one that went like for 24 hours. I don't know, maybe it was like an error and it'll still eat up your credits. So that's not good. I have like a set amount. I give it like 20 bucks. Usually lasts a long, long, long time. Each time it renders, it doesn't cost that much, but yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my little like live stream. I took my image object, IRL object. Here's my initial pine cone. I brought it into Meshy. I generated both a high poly, as you can see. This one's super, look at all that dry. There's a lot of detail in that, which is really cool if you want it. Maybe you just want to generate some cool visuals. This would be fun to just compose different cool scenes that you print out to do posters or something. I generated the high poly and the low poly. The low poly still looks really good. And here is the prompted one. Let's texture it. Let's see what it does with the texture. So within here, we did the image to 3D model. We did the text to 3D model. Within Hyperfy, we did the text to 3D model, which was a lot of fun. Oh, finally got it. Okay, let's see this little guy. Why are they so tiny? He's a tiny little guy. He looks more like a piece of candy. Let's see what it looks like. It looks pretty cool too. You never know. That looks like a strange abstract piece of art you'd see on like Santa Fe Canyon Road or something. And I still think this one is my favorite. It's so interesting and abstract. So that's half the fun, seeing what wild and random things it generates. And if you want more detail and specific within here, it did a pretty good job, especially with the image that you already had. And certain things you can always go into places like Higgsfield. Look at that. This is my text to image. That pine cone is very pretty and it's not a real one. It's AI generated, but then I can also grab that image. Let me just do the final little thing. Let's go back to image to 3D. We can get rid of that image. Let's bring our new, let me see, maybe the other one I like better. Let me check this out. Ooh, look at all these different types. Ooh, I like that one too. That one came out pretty cool, and that one too. So you can play around with all these different tools using text to image, image to 3D, and it's just fun. Like I spend hours just playing around with this. So let's check out. I'm going to do the low poly again. And I think I clicked generate, but while that generates, let's let it do its thing. But, ooh, that came out kind of cool. Look at that. It's kind of like, it looks like a ornament or some sort of like special, like treasure of some kind. I'm not sure. But yeah, so yeah. So there it is, you guys. Today's stream, it was all about how I generate 3D models with AI, tools I like to use. Again, a little quick overview. I use, it is fun to just take your own images and use IRL stuff, which I'm sure you have a bunch of stuff around your house. Think of different objects you'd like to bring in and test, and using whatever image generating tools. There's a bunch of free ones as well. Maybe next time I'll do like showcase the free ones or the ones with like free credits that you can play around with. But the more you play in here, the more ideas you have how you can use all these tools in collaboration. And I personally love doing world building because it is the best place to just bring everything in and start creating fun, crazy things. So I believe that's it for today. Thank you guys for joining me. Hopefully it recorded. Hopefully the audio recorded. You never know. But yeah, it's been fun, and I always learn something new. Now I know I want to uh, have a bunch more ideas for projects that I can do. And with kids in the classroom, with adults, it would be, it's a blast just playing around and using these tools in a creative way. And this is the ultimate sandbox. So yeah. So until next time, please consider, if you like this, following me, subscribing, and leave a comment and what you would like to see for the next video. Yeah, okay, until next time, bye.